Hello everyone, this is Jeff. It is Saturday, January 5th, 2013. And today I would like to talk about the big portions of society's negative viewpoints on the wealthy, on the millionaires and billionaires. And this viewpoint, of course, is pushed forth by the politicians and the media. So I would like to go over some of the talking points that they have, and one, why I think that it's wrong, two, why I think it's unfair, and three, why I think it benefits all of us in society if we don't have this mentality, this line of thinking. So the first talking point is you hear a lot of Democratic legislators say, we can't afford to keep giving tax breaks to the millionaires and billionaires. Okay, we can't afford to keep doing this. We don't have the money to keep giving tax breaks to those people. So what's wrong with this? Why is this wrong? Well, first off, it presumes that the money didn't really belong to the person who earned it in the first place. It belongs to the government, belongs to society, the people, right? And so why do I say this? Well, it presumes that not taking something from someone is a gift. It's giving it to them. And this should strike you obviously as a fallacy right away. But if it doesn't, think about it this way. Let's say you're going down the street and you have $50 in your pocket, and some guy's going to mug you. He's going to take it from you. And at the last moment, he decides, nah, not today, and he walks off. Well, did he give you $50? Did he give you a gift by not taking $50 from you? No, of course not. He just didn't take it from you. Or you can think about it, if it's Christmas morning and your kids are expecting all these great gifts, right? And instead you say, well, I didn't get you anything, but your gift is, I'm not going to take away all your other toys. Well, a kid would look at you like you're insane. You'd be like, that's not a gift. That's simply not taking my other toys away from me, right? So anyway, I hope that I've shown that this line of thinking is quite incorrect. Now the next talking point we hear a lot is that the rich, they don't pay their fair share, right? And so what exactly is this fair share? It's an incredibly subjective term. If we look at the actual numbers, the top 1%, that dreaded 1%, they pay for 37% of the tax revenues. So let me repeat that. 1% pays for 37% the federal income tax revenues. Now if we expand that to the top 10%, that's 70%, over 70% of all the tax revenue, the income tax, is from the top 10%. Now, in contrast, nearly half the country doesn't pay any income tax, or some of them even get money back in the form of an earned income credit. Now, when we talk about fair share, I don't think it's very fair the way it is. If you look at the fiscal cliff deal that was just passed, they just raised the taxes on people earning over $400,000 a year. And these people, some of them probably, they're not millionaires, and they're certainly not billionaires, the ones who are just around 400,000. And even though they just raised it, the Democrats are still saying the rich aren't paying their fair share. And this is nothing new. If you read Atlas Shrugged, which came out in the 50s, she talks about this kind of language. There was like the Fair Share Act or something, I can't remember. But this is nothing new. Politicians have been repeating this for many, many years. So next, you hear a lot, do the rich really need all that money? Do they need all that money? Now, if you watch something like MSNBC, which I highly recommend you don't, but if you do, you'll hear things like, how many corporate jets does someone need, right? You don't need another corporate jet. And so anyway, I'd like to go over this one in quite a bit of detail. So the first point, I think, is the morality of it all. We're taught as children that you don't take things that don't belong to you, right? If you're a kid and you see some other kid with some really awesome toy, you're not supposed to just go up and take it from him. What happens if you do that? Well, an adult will, one, scold you, two, make you give the toy back, and three, make you apologize for it. And this is good, right? In society, I think we all benefit if we don't go around just taking things from each other. That's not a good way to run society. However, when it comes to the state, it's a completely different set of rules. Now all of a sudden, because it's legal, and arguably so in this country with the income tax, but because it's legal to take, then it's justified. And it doesn't stop there. It's not just justified, but it's considered the moral thing to do, the enlightened view, to take things from some people and give it to the others. It's this modern day Robin Hood complex. Now, the Democratic platform is pretty much vote for me, and I will loot a wealthy minority, and I'll redistribute the loot to all of you. And while they don't come out and just say this, because some people would be all for that, but most of the people would be like, that doesn't sound very good, that doesn't sound right. So they just phrase it like, hey, you deserve a free education, you deserve free health care, you deserve free birth control, whatever it is, you deserve it, it's free. And of course, where does that come from? Well, they have to take it from someone. It's all those people, I suppose, who aren't paying their fair share. So I hope that we can all see that this is just immoral and that we shouldn't take things from people, even when it extends beyond just our wants, but our needs. Even when we're hungry, we don't rob people. We don't take things at the point of a gun. That's hopefully in our society, that's not how we act. So next, I want to make the point that it's very dangerous to say, let's just take it from this guy because he has it and we don't. The problem is that someone always has less than you. And when everyone is done looting the person that has the most, then they look to the person that has the next most. And that person could be you. You really don't want a society where we all just look and we take things from the person who has the most. Because soon no one will have anything. It's a very, very dangerous, unpleasant existence. I hope that most of us can agree on that. The next point is, I think, that we don't want to take from people who are the productive class, who are the innovators of society. Now, if you take Howard Schultz, he's the CEO of Starbucks, right? And this guy, I've read, that he gets up and he's answering emails by 4:30 in the morning. Now, I don't know about you, but I certainly do not want to work this hard, right? So what happens if we just say, well, Howard Schultz, he's a billionaire, let's just take his money, right? What happens when we do that? Well, it lessens his incentive to keep doing what he's doing, to work and to innovate and to give us a really good cup of coffee, right? Let's say, like in France, we have this really high 75% marginal tax rate on millionaires and billionaires. What's their incentive to keep working? Obviously, they're not going to feel appreciated, and they might just retire. They might pack it up and move somewhere. Maybe someone else gets the great coffee, right? Maybe we all have to go back to drinking U-Ban and Folgers and Maxwell House. I mean, that's a terrible existence, right? I hope we can agree on that. So it's really in our best interest to let the people who provide the goods and services that we want, to let them keep what they earn. And there's nothing wrong with them earning the money, right? What happens? It's a mutual trade. Well, we earn money through our labor, and we spend money on their products. And they get money, and we get products in return. That's a healthy, just system, and hopefully something that we all want, right? So it really benefits us in society if we don't just say, well, you have all this money because you're really good at what you do, and we should just take it and distribute it amongst the people who aren't necessarily as good at what they do. The last point is one I don't think you'll hear very many places, and I think it's an incredibly important point. But the fact of the matter is that the wealthy are wealthy because they save most of their money. Back to that whole, how many corporate jets does someone need? Well, most of these people aren't going to buy a whole lot of corporate jets. Maybe they'll have one, but they save most of what they have. That's why they're wealthy. For the people who make lots of money but spend it, they go bankrupt. Like, look at MC Hammer, right? The guy who was making millions of dollars, he spent millions of dollars presumably, and he declared bankruptcy. Okay, so for most of the wealthy, they save most of what they have. And for some people, they'll say, well, look, you're just hoarding money. That doesn't help the economy when you hoard it. It gives us even more fuel to the fire of, hey, let's just take it and give it to people who need it. Well, what's wrong with this line of thinking, financially speaking? Well, when the rich save their money, this is capital formation, right? So let's say somebody wants to start a business, expand a business, maybe times are tight and they need to borrow money for payroll, to pay their employees. Well, they need to borrow the money. Well, what has to happen for borrowing to occur? Well, someone has to save that money. And who has a lot of money to be saved, right? The wealthy. And so if we take money from them and we just spend it, we destroyed all that capital. Or let's say it's not even for a business. Let's say you want to buy a nice house. And let's say you just don't have 300 grand lying around when you want to take out a mortgage. Well, what has to happen? Well, somebody has to save that money so that you can borrow it, right? So it's a good thing. Yes, you have to pay interest on it, but what is it allowing you to do? It's allowing you to have the thing now without having to save up all that money first, right? So when we go about stealing the capital formation, when we go about destroying the capital, then we go about really, really destroying the economy. And we all really want a nice economy, right? So I would hope that we don't destroy all that capital. So anyway, thank you if you've stayed with me thus far. Thank you for watching. And if I've gotten anything wrong, please comment. I would love to hear. This is how objective thought progresses. All right, bye everybody.